It's Monday night, and you know what that means. The Jersey First Television Network proudly brings to you the latest edition of Real Talk. And yes, certainly, folks, I am New Jersey's premier and now 10-time award-winning journalist, top Latino, as voted on by the Latino Spirit online magazine, along with the United States Latino Affairs Initiative. And without a doubt, I'll continue to be the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media, because my level of honesty, folks, now more than ever, is truly necessary in this era of journalistic deception. That's right. It's me, the generational talent in New Jersey media. And of course, the people's choice and the people's voice. And certainly last but not least, the most handsome face that runs the place. It's me, Fernando, your Uribe. Happy Monday, everybody. Again, as we continue with the month of December. As you can see, I'm rocking that red as I do quite often. Feeling all festive here. And in advance, I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, happy Festivus. Again, a happy holiday season to all of you tuning in here from wherever and however you may be doing so right now on the Jersey First Television Network via StreamYard, of course, also on our Facebook page, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all of our social media handles, including YouTube as well. And folks, by the way, I got to rock that red. You know why? Because I'm in a scarlet state of mind. Let's go, Rutgers. Back-to-back wins against those pesky little Pirates from Seton Hall. And great win at the Jersey Mike's Arena on Saturday. Folks, I got to tell you, New Jersey's rocking that red, and it's not changing anytime soon. So, for Seton Hall, you might want to go to maybe your local Dwayne Reed or your CVS or, I don't know, Walgreens and get some ointment for that burn, because it's burning red, folks, for our Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And great job by them as we continue on in this great season for them here in 2024, going into 2025. And of course, folks, I want to thank you all for tuning in from wherever and however you may be doing so. Once again, if you haven't done so already, make sure you like us on Facebook. Of course, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And for all you YouTube subscribers, it takes 5 seconds. Like, comment, and share tonight's episode and all our episodes on the Jersey First Television Network. And of course, where you get your podcasts, on Spotify or SoundCloud, download Jersey First TV and take it with you anywhere and anytime, whether you're, walking the dog, even in the rain, whether you're doing some last-minute Christmas shopping, maybe you're picking up the kids from their dorm as they're about to hit winter break after final exams at your nearby college campus. Hey, maybe you're just wrapping gifts, whatever it is you're doing, folks. I'm sure you're checking out Jersey First TV on your smartphone, tablet, PC, or Mac. And we appreciate you doing that. Because again, folks, here on Monday nights, you can be doing anything else. But I'm really honored you're choosing to spend your time with me at the Jersey First Television Network. Folks, speaking of that, let me tell you, I couldn't be prouder to be on the dream team of Garden State Media. That's right, folks. It is Jersey First TV. Of course, brand new episodes of the Narrative premiere every Thursday, hosted by the outstanding Elizabeth Nader. And of course, brand new episodes of Real Talk with Fernando Uribe premiere every Monday night. Check your local listings, of course, for showtimes. Folks, you want to stick around for final thoughts? I have a lot to say about what's going on right now, not just with this show, but of course, what's going on in New Jersey politics. And folks, I can't say enough. Again, January the 6th, coming up in 2025, the first episode of the new year. We're rebranding here on the program, folks. New logo, but it's the same old cooking every single week here on the program. Take note, folks, new logo kicks in on Monday night, January the 6th, with a doubleheader, as a matter of fact. So you definitely want to mark that on your calendars. At 6:05 p.m., I will have Jersey City Councilman Yusuf Saleh on at 6:05, and former New Jersey governor and mayor candidate in Jersey City, Jim McGreevey, will join me at 7:05. So, folks, we're starting the new year with some good guests and some exclusives you won't see anywhere else in New Jersey media. Again, new logo, but the same excellent journalism every Monday night here on the Jersey First Television Network. Folks, again, final thoughts. You want to stick around for that? Because I'm going to have a lot to say really about, the usual, social justice clowns, woke fools, insufferable feminists, unbearable cat ladies, and, all the alphabet mob and everybody else in New Jersey media who didn't have a good year in 2024, whether you're activists, propagandists masquerading as journalists, Mickey Mouse, advocates, whoever. I had a lot to laugh about in 2024, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. with the usual Trump derangement syndrome. But folks, of course, when it comes to Trump derangement syndrome, let's be honest, we can always rely on Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala, as you can see there. Oye, que cara come mierda tiene Ravi Bala. Folks, for everyone at home that's Hispanic, like, tú sabes que una cara come mierda. Ahí lo tiene. Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala. I'll be talking more about his latest tweet and somehow sort of inflating his own importance as mayor of the Mile Square City. We'll talk a little bit more about that during Final Thoughts, folks. You want to stick around, as I have a lot to say about Hoboken's mayor in just a little bit. But folks, you know, it's been a good year. Obviously, as a journalist, I've been talking about the issues that matter most during this election cycle, and I'll keep doing that for the foreseeable future. Obviously, in 2024, we saw the election of a new president. Thank the Lord. Obviously, a brand new Republican Senate, a Republican majority in the House. Obviously, consistent, so I'm excited about that. But folks, one of the things that was really important during this election cycle was sort of just rebuking all the woke bullshit that we've seen in New Jersey media, as well as the national media, with activists, the alphabet mob, social justice clowns, woke fools, you name it, folks. Wokeism, woke nonsense, that's going to be gone, in my opinion, on January the 20th of 2025 with the inauguration of the soon-to-be 47th president, Donald Trump. But of course, here in New Jersey, folks, we've been rebuking wokeism for quite some time. And let's be honest, folks, I'm one of the few champions in New Jersey media that still believes in family values, in parental rights, and making sure that we're not corrupting our kids, like many in the state legislature like to do, how many in the New Jersey establishment media like to do, and for a lot of activists and advocates that are doing the same thing. Not on this show, folks. I'm going to call all of you out and stand up for families. And you know what? What better person to talk to tonight than the executive director of the New Jersey Family Policy Center. Again, folks, you can check out their website by going to www.njfpc.org. Their executive director, Allan Wright, joins us live right here on Real Talk. Allan, how are you?
Hey, Fernando, great to be here. Thank you for that introduction. Even though the Seton Hall dig, I probably will need some of that ointment as a alumni of Seton Hall, and I'm an adjunct professor. But hey, you guys went on that shot, so kudos to Rutgers in that game at Seton Hall. So
hey, listen, it's a great rivalry. It's the one of those games I look forward to every year. I would usually have gone, but these prices in these days, I mean, whether it's the Jersey Mike's Arena on Saturday where the game was, or Prudential Center, I mean, my God, going to watch a live sporting event it's like I have to donate a kidney or something, for God's sakes. But a great win by Rutgers. We'll see where Seton Hall and Rutgers go this year, and as far as they can go, maybe in the tournament, maybe there'll be a rematch somewhere in March.
That'd be
during
great.
Madness. We'll see. But Allan, good to see you, sir. Good to have you on here once again. How's 2024 been treating you?
2024, so far, so good. You know, there's a lot of momentum, as you mentioned, with the November 5th election. We're trying to ride that wave. We just had a gala November 22nd with U.S. Nominee for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. So the vibe in the room, 350 people, Star Spangled Banner, God Bless America. Everybody was on their feet, and just the whole vibe of the evening was very positive. So again, in New Jersey, which is a blue state, like you said, we look at the map, we're trying to make that change. We want it to be as bright as the color of your jacket, red, red, red. So,
well, we'll get to that in a little bit, but let's talk about the origins of the New Jersey Family Policy Center. You are the executive director of this great organization. And by the way, folks, again, check out their website again, www.njfpc.org. And the mission of the New Jersey Family Policy Center and New Jersey Family First is to create culture changes at home, in the church, in the voting booth, and in the public square. So, Allan, tell us what drew you to working and getting involved with the New Jersey Family Policy Center.
You know, it's been around for 30 years, thanks to the initiative of Len Dio, who was really sitting in a classroom with his wife when a health teacher said that, a person next to him said, you mean my daughter can get an abortion and you can take her there without my knowing? And that just sort of lit off a spark between him and many people in the room. And Len is just a fantastic guy. He's our president emeritus. And 30 years ago, he said, we got to do something about this. So we founded the New Jersey Family Policy Center in coalition with the Family Policy Alliance. So there are 42 other people like me in 42 different states, really advocating and educating the population of New Jersey and other states about what are some of these issues that are really attacking the family. And so about 3 years ago, I was asked to become the executive director. And someone who has taught in a Catholic school for over 24 years. I was a former academic dean for evangelization. So again, the faith is important to me. And, when I look at someone like Mother Teresa, somebody's hungry, feed them. Somebody's thirsty, give them something to drink. But when I look at Moses, he didn't say, hey, let's give those slaves, drinks or sandwiches. He said, let my people go, that they may be free. And I think that's a situation we find ourselves in New Jersey with our governor and current Democrat majority, that this system has become unattainable. And it's just craziness, especially when it comes to the social conservative issues that our policy center is most involved with, whether it's religious freedom, parental rights, life issues, the attack on pregnancy resource centers, this transgenderism, giving hormone blockers to children as if puberty was a disease. So that's what sort of gets me going. Sort of my faith is behind that, but it needs to be very practical, right? If it was just prayer alone, this stuff would have been done long ago. And yet sort of that impetus to who are our senator, who is the assembly people that can make these changes and get people excited about it, get parents. And while there are a lot of great mama bears out there, I got to say, and I'm glad that you're here, that, hey, where are the men that are willing to step in and protect their families, protect children? It's time to get all of us involved. And I think with this recent election, we do see a stirring of the pot in New Jersey. And, if you're from Jersey, you want to get things done. And I think so often many people, and parents in particular, have been apathetic. But when they start after our children, it's time to get going.
I'm with you, Allan. Folks, if you're just joining us right now, it's 6:11 here on the East Coast. My guest tonight exclusively is the Executive Director of the New Jersey Family Policy Center. Check him out at www.njfpc.org. Allan Wright joins us here live. Folks, it takes 2 seconds. Like, comment, and share on all of your social media platforms and show your support for Real Talk here on the Jersey First Television Network. Allan, listen, I couldn't say it any better than you just did right now. I'm excited about this sort of culture shift that I think we saw on Election Day just over 40 days ago, not just nationally, but in New Jersey. I was one of the few journalists in New Jersey media that called this race very tight. I said, you know what? There's sort of this quiet undertone of people that are just upset with the current administration. And really, let's be honest, the incompetence of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And certainly, I think Donald Trump was smart in the way he campaigned. I think he resonated with so many different demographics, more so than he did in 2016. He won over, so many more college-educated women, single women, Hispanics, Blacks, Asians. It was remarkable because I think what we started seeing, and not just so much on the economic front, I want to keep it more on the social climate, because that's really one of the things I am very adamant about. And it's all this woke bullshit that I am just tired of. This idea about genders, this idea about your email signature, this idea about misgendering people. It's nonsense. And, we have mentally ill people. Again, I can say this. I'm not going to expect you to sort of jump on the bandwagon here with this, but I can say this out loud. Like, these mentally ill people, biological men playing make-believe, pretending they're women, infiltrating our sports. Listen, I'm a sports fan. And the idea that I know so many dads that work so hard to get their girls and their daughters, biological women, ready for sports, and to see biological boys and men participating in sporting events. You want to talk about one party that always talked about, well, we're the party of women. No, Democrats are not the party of women. If you're encouraging men, playing make-believe and pretending that there's something that they're not. And I'm sorry, I'm not into this. I passed high school biology. There's two genders. Let's stop the bullshit. But it seems like many in Trenton, Allan, want to acquiesce to the alphabet mob and want to keep peddling this nonsense. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, we had Riley Gaines, who made
great guest,
for Congress. And man, talk about a bright young woman who could really speak to this issue personally, what she saw in the locker room. Again, I am the executive director of the New Jersey Family Policy Center, but first and foremost, I'm a husband to a wonderful wife and father to 4 children, 3 of whom are girls, all of whom have played sports. And the idea that somebody, like you said, playing dress up can all of a sudden compete in swimming or volleyball or soccer, And when I taught at Union Catholic High School for 24 years, I was a golf coach, I was the softball coach, soccer coach. And if you look today at the New Jersey Interscholastic Athletic Association guidelines, if you are a male but identify as a female, they allow you to participate in girls' sports. So some of the parents say, oh, I don't really see it happening in my school. Well, it can, and it is. And again, this is what our governing body of sports in New Jersey is allowing. And so it is pure insanity. And again, I think part of it is a spiritual battle, because if it was just common sense, I think people like you and me, and I think the majority of New Jerseyans would say, this is not fair. This is crazy. And this is turning back Title IX, as you said, that has these protections for women. And yet they do it in the name of women, right? But they want to crush female athletes. So it's, again, it's craziness, but it's there. It's in the documents. I think if parents knew this, or saw the reality, and not only for the people that vote as parents, but about grandparents,
Yeah,
aunts and uncles. They want to go see, when my kids compete at sports, you go to the gym, if it's basketball, the soccer field, half the people there are grandparents, and they need to wake up as well and get involved in the process. And
correct.
I said before, get to the voting booth, have conversations with their neighbors, look up the New Jersey governing body and say, yeah, this is what it says in black and white. Is this crazy? And, again, basic things that 5, 10 years ago, you would never think we'd be having this conversation, right?
Listen, it boggles my mind that somehow this has become normalized. And once again, it's interesting because I'm old enough to remember, again, the creation of the internet, mid to late 90s. And obviously we didn't see social media really taking shape until the mid 2000s. If we all remember, folks, again, a little bit of a history lesson here by everyone's favorite history professor. But, obviously, YouTube, Facebook, its birth was in 2005. And then certainly later on in the decade, we started seeing the birth of Twitter and Instagram. And then subsequently we would see Snapchat, now TikTok. And, to a large extent, I think the way that we've gotten our news, Allan, and again, I've had some journalists on the last couple of weeks on this program, professor at Rutgers from the School of Communication and Media, talk about how media has changed, how we get our information. And here in New Jersey, I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, we're seeing establishment newspapers like the Star Ledger, for example. And listen, I feel bad for people that work in the copy room. I feel bad for people in marketing. I feel bad for people in the mailroom, right? But unfortunately, what the Star Ledger, for example, has done is acquiesce to like horrible propagandists like Tom Moran and other left-wing columnists pushing the woke agenda, pushing left-wing nonsense on its readers. And there's no, is it a surprise that the Star Ledger is going out of business? Of course not. And I think more and more people are resonating with podcasters. Again, I'm nowhere near what Joe Rogan is, but the reason people gravitate to podcasts on a grand scale, and even here in New Jersey with me, is because people are tired of being misled by the establishment media. We're seeing it with the Star Ledger. We're seeing it with the Bergen Record. Obviously, we're seeing it also with other physical newspapers and news sites. Again, I really want to get your thoughts, because I think that medium is doing, I think, a really good job in helping to inform the electorate, especially people that never really come out to vote.
Yeah. And I appreciate what you're doing here as well, getting, doing this podcast on YouTube, whatever. And even you have said, every guest that you have on, it's not like you're lockstep. You believe everything that I may believe or other guests believe, but you give people an open forum to allow them to speak in clarity, in charity, even though you disagree. And again, as executive director of my or the organization's director of advocacy, Sean Hyland, often we're asked by the press or email, can you say something? And I would say probably 90% of the time we go on, but 100% of the time we know that my 90-second of verbiage is going to get clipped to about 3 seconds, right? Or it's going to be on the New Jersey News for 2.5 seconds, and my kids will time it. Dad, you were only on for 3 seconds. Yeah, well, I spoke and I said a lot more that was substantive in that 90 seconds, while the other side gets 3 minutes. Or in the newspaper, you go down to the bottom or scroll to the bottom on the news feed, it's right there. So whether it's a newspaper or the schools or even the NJEA, you know what? They're going for children. They're going in the schools. And again, so other platforms, whether it be X, podcasts, YouTube. It's a great way to get information out and to share it. And hey, I'm going to share this. I shared it already on my LinkedIn account, Facebook. And after it's recorded, hey, we'll put it out there again. Let people know, hey, here's somebody that can speak for us. And I think that's what you said before with the election, that finally with Donald Trump, or a conservative voice, that's what I believe. Yeah, I believe there are two genders, right? I believe that we should not be paying these exorbitant taxes to the people who are not citizens. Like you said, you get a license to fish, but not to vote. Insanity.
It's insane. It's interesting where, you know, if I want to practice my Second Amendment, I have to prove identification. But if I'm looking to vote, well, that's not necessary. I don't need to prove my identity there. It's very interesting how the left likes to sort of cherry pick when IDs are necessary, right, Allan? It's fascinating to me, not just as an academic, but also as a journalist here trying to dissect this. So, you know, again, we had a great 2024 as a conservative, you know, and you as well. I mean, obviously seeing a new president, hopefully a new direction coming up in less than 40 days, really, on January the 20th. But again, that takes us coming up to 2025. And certainly here in New Jersey, we have all 80 assembly seats up for grabs coming up in November of next year. Obviously, there's a primary coming up on now June 10th, because I believe the legislature is moving it to make sure that we accommodate voters, especially those of Jewish faith, because I believe it's somewhat conflicting if it was still on June 3rd. But the point is that, you know, once January 1st, you know, once it's 12:01 a.m., January 1st, I mean, it's a new election cycle. And obviously we have a gubernatorial race. We have a lot of candidates in both parties, both the Democrat Party and Republican Party. But to your point about the importance of the legislature, I mean, all 80 assembly seats are up for grabs. And for example, where I live in Hudson County, I mean, it's as blue as Windex. That's not changing anytime soon. But there's a lot of vulnerable Democrats in central Northwest Jersey that have been in Trenton way too long, that believe that plastic bag bans work, and they don't, that believe that, you know, acquiescing to the alphabet mob and organizations like Garden State Equality, Hudson Pride, the Human Rights Council, that somehow, you know, corrupting children as young as 5 in our public schools seems to be acceptable. I think this is a really good chance for Republicans and maybe independent candidates too, to make some noise next year, going into shaving into that Democrat Party majority that exists right now in the legislature. I believe, again, don't quote me on it, but I believe that the majority is pretty overwhelming. I think it's 56-24 in favor of Democrats. So I think Republicans have a good chance with this momentum, with people being against all this woke bullshit that's out there, to maybe shave into that lead. How do you see it, sir?
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think one of the key things with the gubernatorial race as well is that, you know, you'd mentioned at the top of the show that there's only like a 3%. You know, if Jack Ciattarelli would have gotten those 3%, we would have had a different governor and a whole different outlook in the state of New Jersey. But with the primary, I think it's my hope that whoever.
Well, again, Allan, I'm sorry, I'll let you finish your thought, but I'm glad you brought those numbers, because I'm just looking at them now. I mean, again, Jack lost by 3 points, and I have my issues with Jack. I thought the campaign got a little vanilla towards the end. I think there should have been better outreach. But having said that, only 29% of registered Republicans came out to vote. And this is what bothers me about the NJGOP and a lot of Republicans. It's like they can be very fickle. Well, if this candidate doesn't check off all these boxes, you know, I'm going to stay home. Well, by staying home, we reelected Phil Murphy, arguably the most fiscally destructive governor in the history of the state, where we have the highest property taxes in the country. Somehow there's another gas tax. The tolls keep going up. We keep giving money to illegals, where, you know, we set up money through taxpayer dollars in the state budget to, you know, provide legal counsel to illegals. And now all of a sudden, mysteriously, the emperor wants budget cuts. So let's have, you know, no new hires. We need to have 5% budget cuts in every department. It's really interesting how the emperor now believes in fiscal responsibility when he sunk the state into a fiscal hole. But again, the reason he gets to do that is because only 29% of registered Republicans came out to vote. That cannot happen in 2025. I'm sorry, I'll let you continue. I just want to put that out there.
At the New Jersey Family Policy Center, we really have two organizations: the Family Policy Center, which is for advocacy, and then the Family Foundation, which is for education and getting out and educating people on this, on these issues that are important to families. Is, hey, that's our wheelhouse. And yet, when you look at the Democrats, I got to tip my hat to them. They are lockstep in order. They all vote the same way. And often it seems that our Republican Party, we even go against each other. So I know, again, we are more concerned with policies and where people stand on policies rather than personalities. But again, it's my hope that there'll be some order. I know St. Thomas Aquinas, to get a little theological, said that peace is a tranquility of order. And if we're fighting each other, and after the primary, Democrats are going to win again. So let them hash it out during the primary, let them go for the policies, and whoever gets the nod, can we all get behind that person? Again, there's no perfect candidate, but behind it. And again, maybe it'll be Jack Ciattarelli, maybe it'll be Bill Spadia, maybe Ed Durr, maybe a dark horse will come out. Whoever it is, we need to get behind it, because look at what Trump's doing with his cabinet. It's like a dream team. And saying, hey, this is a mandate the American people want. Let's put these people through. Again, if we are disorganized, if we're not lockstep behind our candidate, and maybe just get 5 or 6 issues, this is what we're going to do, and put it out there. And again, shows like yours is a great tool to combat the mainstream media, because they're still going to be infected by what's going on. The Philadelphia news, the New York. Hey, let's get the people on the street. Let's get the facts out there. And on our website, we always have the sort of champions that we, hey, these people, these are the issues. This is how they voted. And it's amazing how many of the Democrats don't send back anything. Because, but we put up some of these bills that they will vote. And it's just, hey, now we have them on record with these, using pronouns, hiding things from parents, hiding mental health issues that a 14-year-old may have from their parents, which is all just sort of a cue for hopefully transitioning them. So, and the NJEA at their December thing down in Atlantic City had 15 workshops on how to make your classroom more LGBT friendly. Had live drag shows there. And you look at the NJEA website, one of their problems is retaining teachers. I wonder why, huh? Probably.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. I mean, obviously, their conference is usually the week before. I think it's like, if I'm not mistaken, because the League of Municipalities is usually the week before Thanksgiving. And coincidentally, I went to the NGEA mixer because I'm like, hey, it's 2-hour open bar. I'm not paying for it. Let me drink at their expense. And I got to talk to Sean Spiller, their president, and certainly the former mayor of the People's Republic of Montclair. And coincidentally, obviously, he's a gubernatorial candidate for the Democrat Party. And I talked to Sean straight up. I'm like, listen, I introduced myself, and he's met me before. And even before I finished my name, I was like, oh, Mr. Spiller, hi, I'm Fernando. He's like, I know who you are. I'm like, oh, okay, wow. When you get those intros, right, it's like, oh, I know who you are. And I'm like, well, yeah, Sean, I mean, listen, I'm an educator too. And I'm, quite frankly, I said to him, I'm like, I'm effing pissed off about what's going on here. Like, you want to know why the NGEA, to your point, is struggling to retain teachers? Teachers don't want to deal with this bullshit. I mean, yes, it's Montclair, but Montclair is its own planet with their nonsense. I mean, acquiescing to the alphabet mob, drag queen story time for kids as young as 5. I mean, it's ridiculous that they're taking membership dues from teachers and applying it, whether it's to a political action committee or these events that are just, it's corrupting children. But to your point about candidates, and I really want to pick your brain about this, and I'll certainly ask you about the Democrat Party candidates in a minute, but I just think it's a really interesting field with Republicans. We have State Senator John Bramnick. We have 101.5 FM radio personality Bill Spadia. We have former state senator Ed Durr. We have former assemblyman and 2-time candidate Jack Ciattarelli. And I think it's a very diverse field ideologically. And listen, I think that Republicans have a real chance to take this momentum from this year and carry it over. But who do you see maybe? Because again, listen, we know the president at some point will come into New Jersey to visit. He did this year. I was in Wildwood in May for that tremendous beach rally, easily well over 50,000 people on that beach. I was there in the press pit, getting a little too much color there and getting a tan. But, obviously I know the president was supposed to visit New Jersey soon, but with all these drones, flying around, it may not be the safest place to come to New Jersey, obviously, for the president-elect. But, how do you see this field among Republicans? It's very different, conservatives or moderates. I know the NJFPC doesn't really endorse candidates, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But who do you see who do you really see coming out of this field?
I got to tip my hat to at least, Jack Ciattarelli. seems like that guy can trilocate. You look at his Facebook page, he's down in, South Jersey and North. He's all over the place. He's been to our office. We've had conversations with him. Great guy. He was at our Pete Hegseth event. Bill Spadia, again, totally pro-life with us on all the conservative issues. Ed Durr as well, when he spoke at the New Jersey March for Life. Again, he did lose his own district when he ran again. And John Bramnick is, my senator here. He's right down the road in Scotch Plains. Again, I think we would say any of those guys would be better than what's coming on the left side. So in terms of picking my brain, I guess I get the wisdom from both Sean Hyland and Len Dio that, again, Bill Spadia looks like he has a great chance. Jack, I think, will get sort of the endorsement for the Republican Party. I don't know if Bramnick and Jack will sort of split the ticket, as they say, and maybe that'll give a path for Bill. He certainly has a wide range with the 101.5. I see a lot of his signs out on people's front lawn as well. Again, at the end of the day, they're going to have to debate it out. And again, they're all of them, they're very well spoken, and they can, speak about the issues. I think probably John Bramnick is more on the financial, fiscally thing. I think, Jack is there too. I go to some of these meetings where, they show up, and again, very likable, good candidates. My hope is, though, whoever does get the nod, that the party itself stands behind and they don't end up killing each other. Because I know last time we have people bad-mouthing Jack 2 months, 2 weeks before the election, and just it kills the spirit.
Yeah.
So
no, it certainly didn't. I think, again, it gets back to how fickle some Republicans can be in New Jersey. It's like, hey, we all know how nasty that primary process was in 21. And, obviously Jack won it to some extent pretty decisively, but there was still some fickle behavior by some Republicans. And I just felt like, listen, Democrats aren't fickle. Once there's a D next to your name, they rally. They may not like who you are, but they'll rally behind them. And obviously that's what happened. We know how destructive the emperor was. We know that in many pockets of the state, Phil Murphy was not popular with the COVID mandates. And we all know now, 4 years later, were complete bullshit. They just were. He kept the state shut down longer than he should have. It killed our schools. It killed people. It killed seniors, vets, you name it. It killed small businesses. And I'm not being hyperbolic here, folks. I mean, you could look at the math and the reports are there. And again, I think despite how unpopular Phil Murphy was, Jack couldn't capitalize. And again, Republicans stayed home, and that's why we got Phil Murphy for a second term. Having said that, the candidates for the Democrat Party, I think, need to take a little bit of a lesson here about this year. I think they can't keep going with the woke nonsense. We have, obviously a mayor nearby me in Jersey City, Steve Fulop, who's very progressive. We have the mayor of Newark, Ross Baraka. Obviously, we all know that. And listen, I don't mind saying this out loud. I can say it's my show. Short of Penn Station and a few block radius, I mean, Newark's a shithole. So in some cases, you're paying $3,000 in rent to look at Penn Station, to look at Ironbound. I mean, listen, we got Sean Spiller, former mayor of Montclair and the current president of NGEA. You're enabling this union to keep the state shut down longer. Obviously, they work collectively with the legislature to do that. You also have, obviously, other candidates. You have U.S. Representatives Mikey Sherrill, Josh Gottheimer, who maybe aren't as far left as the others, but it just seems like, listen, if you don't want to learn your lesson from this year, God bless you. I'm hoping Republicans can win this, but there's still a big disadvantage. Obviously, there's a registration disadvantage. It's a little under 1 million more registered Democrats, but this is where independents have to be motivated to vote, Allan, as well as Republicans.
Well, how about in Patterson? Didn't Billy Pence come within about 5 points? So,
well, again, I mean, this is the problem. Trump won Passaic County, and the problem is that the NJGOP, and again, I know that their chairman, Bobby Hugan, is not a big fan of this show or myself because I call out when the NJGOP is wrong. If they just got so much as $1 million or even $2 million in that race, he would have beaten Nellie Poe. He lost by 3 points. Okay, he was getting up there to ultimately maybe beat Bill Pascrell, the deceased former U.S. representative. It just seems like the NJGOP and you're a sports fan, so I think you'll appreciate this. It's like they see the end zone, they either get stopped at the 1 yard line or they fumble it out of bounds, or I don't know what the F. It just bothers me sometimes because Republicans have a real chance to capitalize in 2025, and I'm really nervous about this, Allan.
Yeah, sometimes they say, people are, afraid of heights of, getting up. Hey, it's easy to be maybe a sports analogy with the Mets. It's easy to be the little brother, but hey, now you got Soto, right? Now you got the big guy, the big fish in town. Now you got to perform. And I think with the GOP, we have the issues, we have the momentum. I think we have the parental rights. I think we, as the NJFPC, have formed coalitions, are part of coalitions, whether it's for school choice, working with other groups to move forward these issues and work together. So it's, I guess the time is now. And like you said, let's cross the end zone. Let's capitalize on this and let's put these issues out front, which I think common sense people would say, yeah, I don't want this garbage in the schools. No, I think, as Josh Gottheimer is, trying to close down pregnancy resource centers as an alternative. Why? Because they don't provide an abortion. And again, you look at our abortion policies in New Jersey, and whether it's, I think it should be, 15 weeks or 20 weeks, any point of the gestational period, you can abort your child. The only other countries that do that are China and North Korea. And so what is the extreme position? And how can we sort of present that, articulate that in the way that makes sense? That, yeah, okay, maybe it's a personal choice. If you believe it's conception to natural death, how about 20 weeks? But you're telling me that 7, 8, 9 months and we're paying for it, And so again, it's just some of these issues, articulating, putting them out there and getting, what ones that really do hit families. And certainly the taxes or windmills, that's certainly, winnable issues as well. And yet the other side, they are just lockstep and they don't care about their soul. They just care about their seat, and they will sell their soul just to retain their seat. Even when they know it's wrong, they keep their mouth shut. So again, let's keep them accountable at the polls.
And it's interesting, you bring up reproductive rights, and I get tired about this discussion in New Jersey, where it's been codified into state law. To your point, up until the 9th month, you can terminate a pregnancy. Okay, listen, and again, I don't want to get too raunchy on the show, but again, here in New Jersey, Plan Bs are available everywhere. I know what they look like. I've had to buy a good amount in my adult life, in the last few years, so I know what they look like. They're right behind the counter at your local Walgreens, CVS, or Dwayne Reed. So it's like, I hate when legislators, and we saw this at the national level, and we see it even here in New Jersey. And I think that this is an opportunity where Republicans and conservatives can say, hey, listen, let's stop allowing Democrats, the left, progressives to weaponize this during every election cycle. Here in New Jersey, I'm going to say it for everybody again, it's been codified into state law. This idea or this hysteria, well, Republicans want to take away. Listen, if you're a woman in New Jersey, a biological woman that can, not pregnant people, a biological woman, a mother, okay, that can get knocked up and have a baby, what are you bitching and moaning about? I say this all the time on my show, Allan. It's like, why does the left and progressives, especially in New Jersey, we're not talking about Tennessee or Alabama, we're talking about New Jersey. It's codified into state law. Like something else they want to codify, which I'll get your thoughts on in a minute. It's like Republicans, I think, need to do a better job this cycle, especially assembly candidates, to not allow a lot of these establishment Dems in Central and South Jersey, where they're vulnerable, to stop hijacking the narrative and say, well, we're going to protect reproductive freedom. It's already protected. Shut the F up about it already and focus on the economy. We have the highest property tax in the country at a little over $9,200. The gas tax went up again. Our tolls are going up again. Okay, like, can we stop with the virtue signaling? And I think this is where Democrats may not learn their lesson going into 2025 in New Jersey. You want to keep peddling this nonsense? God bless you. Go ahead and let a Republican become governor. That's what we need, because God knows after 8 years of Phil Murphy, I don't think we can afford fiscally or socially another far left leaning governor.
Yeah. So I think it's not, sometimes in religious conversations, it's not so much about theology, but terminology.
Yeah.
We have champions like Dawn Fantasia. We have,
Right.
who's like, how much more do you guys want? You want travel ban alerts? You want all this nonsense? You have everything you want. And like you said, in New Jersey, there's options if women choose to do that. So we're not stopping you. And so this pregnancy resource centers of First Choice, of LifeNet, some great organizations, they are being harassed by Gottmeyer, by his wicker, just trying to, put the pedal to the metal on an issue that's not really even an issue in New Jersey. But again, they're controlling the narrative. They have the press. That's why important shows like yours and other outlets that are, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, to get the truth out there and to say, okay, yeah, you have that. Now let's focus on what really impacts most people, right? And whether it's their children, their schools. So we want to motivate communities. We want to motivate churches. And I think when you see the statistics of how many Christians got involved this past election, I know it was, off the charts. And again, while we're a Christian organization, we do have a great relationship with some Jewish groups, even with some Islamic groups, that we believe in family values, right? I'm a Catholic, but you speak to someone who is Jewish, someone who is Muslim, that, yeah, what is being taught in our schools? We came to America to avoid what's, that being forced indoctrination in our home country. And now we see it here. And it's interesting that usually when people come to our country, the first generation is just happy to be here and they're quiet. But when that second generation comes along, they start to speak up because they feel they're Americans and they feel they have that voice to articulate the garbage that they're seeing in our schools. And again, it's just evident for all to see. When you see so many other states, again, other family policy councils, that when I have conversation with them, they're like, Allan, I don't know if I could do it, New Jersey, because it's just so, heavily Democrat. But hey, we don't fight. We continue to fight. We don't give up, because what we're dealing with is families, is children, and we want them protected. And we're an organization that has that muscle to do it. So.
And it's interesting you bring up, obviously, immigrants, because I really want to get your thoughts on this. Again, one of the things that really resonated this election cycle, looking at, and I'm sure the full data won't be available until sometime in the spring about exit polling and everything, but what we saw with middle-class, working-class families, Hispanics especially, Black families, we saw, again, just a rebuke of all the woke bullshit. And I think that people were getting tired of seeing, again, our daughters getting marginalized in sports, the idea that somehow, boys and men playing make-believe, which is that's what they're doing, right, is somehow something we have to keep enabling. And that didn't sit well, I think, with a lot of immigrant communities. And also, too, I think another issue was illegal immigration. And it seems like a lot of these Democrat Party candidates for governor, Allan, are looking to maybe explore codifying New Jersey as a sanctuary state. Now, we know that in 2018, when Phil Murphy took office, he wanted to make New Jersey the California of the East. And let's be honest, California is a shithole. Crime is running rampant. We have homelessness everywhere. We have drug addicts, harassing law-abiding citizens. We have shoplifting, burglaries, looting, rioting. I mean, it seems like Phil Murphy, again, it wasn't just enough to make New Jersey a sanctuary state. Obviously, his attorney general at the time, Gabir Gurwal, would not cooperate with federal law enforcement. It seems like these candidates for the Democrat Party also think that, well, we've already codified reproductive rights. How about, again, because of a second Trump presidency, we should explore codifying New Jersey as a sanctuary state. With everything going wrong in New Jersey, again, I think this is how tone deaf so many on the left are, where we have to worry about property taxes. Again, the gas tax went up. Listen, yes, gas has gone down, but we're still looking at $2.85, $2.90. If it wasn't for the 50 plus cents of the gas tax, we'd be looking at low twos for gas. But it just seems like those in Trenton are so effing tone deaf that it's infuriating.
Yeah. My wife is originally from Texas, so I got relatives out there, and it's, that's what gas is out there. And, about 5 days after the election, Murphy said he wants to Trump-proof New Jersey. And we sort of got that quote and put it in one of our newsletters. But I think the Indian community, the Chinese community, the Filipino community in New Jersey that we have contact with in the churches at community meetings, they're the ones that are there. And this is New Jersey. It's a great melting pot. But those who have come here legally as well, they don't want the same thing. They want people to come here the way they did. I got one great friend, Salman, who's from Syria. And he brought his family over here first, jumped through all the hoops, did the whole paperwork. 4 or 5 years later, he's a citizen. And he's looking around and seeing these other people just getting iPhones from our government, getting free handouts with no skin in the game at all. And so it's very frustrating. I think I've heard that from our immigrant population as well. Now, certainly we love the neighbor, the person in front of us, and yet when you have 500,000, a million, or what Chicago, what Los Angeles is facing, you get what you ask for, and it's just it's unsustainable, and we're seeing it here in New Jersey, and again, it's just craziness. So, but again, I think they see the same problem, and they want to continue to put the pedal to the metal in Trump-proof New Jersey. I think the people are going to rise up and say, no, we don't want that here. We love our Garden State, right? That's why we're staying. We're not, moving to Florida or other states, but we want to make this state as well family friendly, so families can thrive, as we say.
Listen, it's up to conservatives, Republicans, independents to make sure that we don't get a third Murphy term. And it seems like many of the Democrats running for governor are more than happy to sort of continue. I mean, they may not mention Phil Murphy by name, but it seems like they're more than happy to continue these destructive policies. So we'll find out, obviously, in the next election cycle. Allan, let me ask you, coming up in 2025, you've had a great year. Obviously, I get the newsletter. Obviously, I follow all the great things your organization's doing. What can we look forward to in 2025 with the New Jersey Family Planning Center?
But we want to continue to put the issues out in front of parents. We want to continue to get out there in churches, proactive, and we really want to have this Thriving Families initiative. So often, again, using maybe another sports analogy, I think so often what the Family Policy Center is like a goalie. Because when you're faced with a Democratic, Assembly, the Senate, and the governor, we're trying to, here's a bill that comes out with these 12 egregious points. Hey, we got rid of 5 of them, right? Because they were so egregious. We put out action alerts. So for us, hey, that's a win. Other people may not see that as a win. For us, it's a win. 2025, we want to go on the aggressive, right? We want to go, we're tired of just playing goalie. We want to get out there and have some wins. So there are signs of hope. Some of our assembly people are champions when we see how New Jersey is turning a little bit red, certainly the Northwest, the south of our state. We want to make those inroads. We want to get people to the polls, but really with the education issues, that's sort of our main thrust, and really have legislation that families can thrive in New Jersey. And what that will look like, we're working on that right now with our small team. But ultimately, that's the goal, that families can thrive, and we want to make these inroads and have family-friendly legislation that does not, burden families, so that, because as the family goes, there goes the culture. And so that's sort of going to be our talking points moving forward with the Family Thriving Initiative moving forward.
Folks, if you just joined us right now, it's 6:47 here on the East Coast. My guest tonight is the distinguished executive director of the New Jersey Family Policy Center. You can check out more information about them by going to www.njfpc.org. Make sure you like them on Facebook. Of course, follow them on Instagram and Twitter. Also on LinkedIn. And if you wish to donate your time and/or any disposable income, please do so for this great nonprofit organization. Once again, the New Jersey Family Policy Center, and their executive director, Allan Wright, joins us here live on Real Talk. Allan, it's interesting because it's the holiday season, and certainly, listen, I was having this conversation with some of my friends. I'm a big sports fan, as you know. If you look at my social media, big Cowboy fan, big Yankee fan. Not a lot to cheer for this year.
I'm sorry.
Listen, it's okay. But I said to my friends, hey, listen, my Lakers stink. At least, listen, thankfully my Devils are doing okay. But I was just so happy about Donald Trump getting reelected. I think we need a cultural, not just an economic shift. We need a cultural shift in this country. I mean, let's be honest. Back in 2020, right? What did Joe Biden, in somehow his declining cognitive state, what did he promise us? He promised us normalcy and competency, and we got nothing. We got men, playing make-believe, getting appointed. It's funny where the left and progressives and establishment media are having hissy fits and basically menstruating about Donald Trump's potential cabinet picks, where, let's be honest, I mean, anybody want to take a look at who Joe Biden nominated and got appointed to various cabinet positions? The DEI hire, as the press secretary. We got a grown man playing make believe as a woman now in the Department of Health and Human Services. We got another guy playing make believe in the Department of Energy. Take your pick. It was DEI on steroids, and it just seems like we didn't get that. And I think that turned people off in every demographic, Allan. And I think that, for me, I'm so grateful for the reelection of Donald Trump. We're going to be getting some competency back in Washington. This idea about, painting or having rainbow colors at the White House in March or April, and then in June, and I'm tired of it. Not because I'm intolerant. I'm not a transphobe or a homophobe. Again, phobia is an irrational fear of something. I'm not afraid of trans people or gay people. Listen, I'm afraid of the Eagles winning another Super Bowl because I hate the Eagles. And I don't even want to think about that shithole of a city getting another championship. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm not a phobe of anybody or any community, but it just seems like we've been going down this rabbit hole of, if you disagree with someone and you voice your disapproval, right, then immediately blank phobe, a blankist. And I got to be honest with you, I think people got tired of the bullshit.
Yeah. And those words are used so often, they carry no meaning. Again, I had an opportunity. I won a fellowship a number of years ago to study the Holocaust. I went to Auschwitz. I went to Birkenau, Majdanek, Treblinka. I saw firsthand. I heard from witnesses who had been there. This was 93. I've been to Theresienstadt in Prague and the Czech Republic. I've seen racism. I've written about 400 letters of recommendation as a high school and college professor, for African American students, for minorities, for women. And yeah, we're not afraid. And if you're over 18 and you want to transgender yourself, knock yourself out. This is America. But to push that to 7-year-olds, there's something wrong and there's something evil about that. And it should not be. And so again, with the sports analogy, like you said, my fear is that maybe Saquon Barkley will be the MVP of the year. But as important as sports are in my life, and as a father of a son and daughters, I think the wave of what happened with this presidential election, I can say, you know what, there are other people that think like me. And in other states, you see people riding around with Trump signs or, social conservative movement. Florida, that's great. I think in 2020, it was or 2016, I was like, oh my gosh, there are other people in New Jersey that think like me. And now they're not ashamed. They see these crazy people for, health and human services, the military, in terms of going woke and transgender surgeries for what the heck is going on? And I think the people are waking up. And again, that's the beauty of America. But you just can't sit and moan about it. You got to get up. You got to speak to your neighbors. You got to put it on your platforms, and you got to get to the polls. And even as Robert Off says, you got to vote early. This is what they do. We got to beat them at their own game in every way we can to get out there. And I think that 10-point swing in New Jersey proves that hopefully, it's possible to get rid of this garbage.
And it's interesting where, again, if you remember going into the 2021 election cycle, Phil Murphy and Democrats in Trenton felt, hey, let's establish early voting like other states do. And let's be honest, be careful what you wish for, because what we saw in 2024, Allan, where Republicans, independents, conservatives were really galvanized to go vote early. And again, I think that's what brought these results, not just in New Jersey. I mean, it would have been nice to flip a couple more, congressional districts, but that didn't happen. But the interesting thing was, again, we were able to get a new president. We were able to flip the Senate in a lot of states, obviously having a Republican majority now. Republicans able to keep a majority, a slight one though, unfortunately, in the House because of, obviously naming some House members, obviously sort of shaves into that majority. But again, the 47th president's going to have a mandate. And it wasn't like he just fell into the office, okay? It wasn't just like 2016 where, well, he won the Electoral College and the left and Democrats and the media, establishment media were like, well, he didn't win the popular vote. No, stop the bullshit. He won the popular vote decisively and he won the Electoral College decisively. So I feel it's a mandate now going into January of next year where he has a very young vice president. And I say this to people all the time. If the Trump-Vance platform can accomplish even a quarter of what they promised in this cycle, Allan, J.D. Vance will be 44 in 2028. He's going to be very, very relatively young. Republicans have a chance to have a stranglehold on Washington for quite some time. Again, the economy has to improve. We need to get out of these ridiculous wars. We need to stop funding these ridiculous regimes like Ukraine and everything else. And we need to get back to some normalcy in our fiscal climate and our social climate. And I think that that's why I have so much optimism going into the new year. Do you share the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's bring our money back here to the United States. And like you said, I heard J.D. Vance speak when he was with Tucker Carlson out in Pennsylvania a couple months ago with my wife. And maybe just one thing, like you said in the beginning, know your legislative district. If you're watching this show for the first time, know who your senator is, your assembly people. And we are a faith-based organization. And you know what? I'm sure anybody here listening, if you saw an adult or even an older kid bullying or, doing harm to a child, you would get involved. And yet there are 1.4 million children in our public schools which are failing them, which are not only failing them academically, they are harming them with all this woke ideology, this gender ideology. And so again, to say that, oh, I'm not involved in politics, it's garbage, because through what's called a sin of omission, by failing to get involved, you're allowing a generational change of students getting hurt in their area of mental health, puberty blockers, this egregious altering of their bodies, which is really a mental health disease. And so again, get involved, learn the issues, right?
Now, and Allan, I'm curious, is the New Jersey Family Policy Center going to be doing any sort of voter outreach in the sense of voter registration drives or maybe workshops that can help educate the electorate essentially going into next year? Again, as I mentioned before, there's 80 assembly seats. The Democrats have a pretty good majority there. I think it's important every cycle, shave into those majorities, get people, really mobilized and motivated to vote. What can we expect from the New Jersey Family Policy Center when it comes to next year's election cycle?
Yeah, next year's election cycle, on our weekly newsletters, emails, I encourage you to visit our site, njfpc.org. We do have voter registrations where you can vote. Our champions for the legislator, where they stand on the issues. And hey, again, most people don't know who's running. What do they, this last election cycle, you see 1,000 signs on the corner, right? Who are these people? And maybe I'll vote for Trump. I'm convinced about that. Who are these other people? So come to our webpage. We'll let you know. We share information as well with other groups that, hey, these people stand with us on the issues. So again, we are stronger when we form coalitions, when we stand together and get people of like minds involved. So visit our website, and we will be sharing that information there freely with anybody who visits.
Allan, before I let you go, it's been a great conversation with you. And folks, if you're just joining us live right now, it's 6:57 here on the East Coast. If you just joined us live here on the Jersey First Television Network, my guest is the Executive Director of the New Jersey Family Policy Center, Allan Wright, here on the program. Folks, again, like, comment, and share. And as soon as we go off the air, just share the replay and contribute to all the great traffic we have here on Real Talk with Fernando Uribe. Allan, we've gotten to know you, the Executive Director. We've gotten to know you, a man of faith. We've gotten to know you as a New Jersey resident. But let's get to know, in a quick lightning round, let's get to know Allan Wright, the guy. And so we'll do a quick lightning round here, and whatever comes to mind, I'm curious here. So let's go. Favorite MLB team?
New York Mets.
Okay. Got to tell you, big Yankee fan. Kudos to the Mets. Big acquisition of Juan Soto. It's a lot of money for a guy. Listen, the whispers are out there, rumors. We're never really going to know what drove him, whether it was the money, whether it was the suite. But, again, as a Yankee fan, I might have to sort of throw this little fickleness out there. I get it. These little victories in December, it gets the Met community giddy. You got to do it on the field, right?
Absolutely. You don't win championships in December over the hot stove. You got to put it on there. But hopefully we've got a great core, as the Yankees did in the 90s, right? I've been watching that across the river for all my life. 86 was the last time, and I was, my early 20s. So, hey, let's bring it back again. Kudos to the Yankees for building that core four. Bernie Williams, Jeter, Prasad, all those guys. Hey, with Vientos, with hopefully maybe get Alonso back, Lindor, Soto now put in there. But again, Yankees are doing a great job building up their pitching and their bullpen. Senge may be back, but he's going to be the same man. let's get more people out there. So
Yeah, listen, we'll see. And again, and by the way, as a Yankee fan, I can say this openly: the better ballpark experience is Citi Field. I'll say that. I'll die on that hill. I've been to Citi Field multiple times. It's a great place to watch a ball game. I get it. Yankee Stadium, it's the Yankees, it's the banners, it's the mystique, but it's not the old Yankee Stadium. And again, I had the privilege of going there multiple times in my youth. And again, but the better, in my opinion, the better ballpark experience, without question, I think is Citi Field. It's better for families. I think it's very enjoyable. There isn't a lot to do around Citi Field, like let's say the Bronx, but I think it's a better ballpark experience for sure at Citi Field. Okay, NFL.
NFL, not that passionate. I'm a big hockey Rangers fan.
Oh, okay. Well,
or I had the mini plan. I was all those games. I was there in the Garden, the double overtime with Mateau. Sorry about that. Devils more recent cups, I get it. But again, the best sporting event is one that I can take my kids. I got a 10-year-old son. My oldest daughter's 21. So whether it's Yankee Stadium or Citi Field or Prudential Center, which is easy to get to, it's sharing my love of sports and those hits or whatever. It's a great experience. But yeah, it seems that we're different. Seton Hall, the Mets.
Well, it's interesting. Like, I love hockey. I love going to Prudential. I'm a diehard Devil fan. Interesting dynamic with Rangers and Devils, that rivalry. I mean, I've been going on for decades. It's really interesting how tribal it gets, right? And how fickle it gets. Understandable. Listen, you've had plenty of Hall of Fame players. We've had plenty of Hall of Fame players. The greatest goaltender to ever play the sport of hockey, coincidentally, wears Devil red, right? But
nation name is Edward for Eddie Jockman.
Okay,
that's the influence he had in my life, and a lot of my passcodes still have the number 7 for Rod Gilbert. So I go back to the 70s.
Listen, I love going to the Garden. I'm a big pro wrestling fan. It's the mecca of professional wrestling, but it's the mecca for everything, right? You go to the Garden. It's a special building. When I was there in October for Trump's event, you felt the electricity because it's the Garden, right?
Now, I was there when Superfly Snuka stood on the top of the steel cage.
Okay.
John Morocco. So
let me tell you.
Unbelievable thing.
Let me tell you, I'm loving you more, bro. I'm a diehard WWE fan. I still watch pro wrestling. I still go to events. I got to tell you, I was a really young kid seeing that, and I remember just the idea of Jimmy Snuka doing that to the then Intercontinental Champion Don Morocco. It was crazy, and it's interesting because now coming up in April, 41 years later, we get WrestleMania, and it's a passage for me. I get my buddies over. We watch it on my big screen. We cheer for our heroes. We boo the villains, and I think that's why pro wrestling is still as enjoyable because of that. Real quick, since it sounds like you're a pro wrestling fan, then I got to pick your brain real quick. The Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling for you?
Probably Bruno Sammartino, Hogan, Andre, and back in older one, Ivan Putski.
Really, okay, fair enough. My Mount Rushmore is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Woo! Because I love the Nature Boy. Certainly Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin. I think in his brief run was
Stone Cold,
revolutionary character in the sense of changing the industry and really how I think the best-selling wrestler of all time in terms of merchandise, ratings, amazing. The fourth one might surprise you. And the reason I picked this guy is because of his longevity and the gimmick itself of what great character work. I picked The Undertaker.
There's a lot to choose from.
Sure.
I think even back, I was at the boot camp match where Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik.
Yes, Sergeant Slaughter. Wow, yeah.
Talk about gimmicks, talk about patriotism,
Yeah.
Sheik, right after, in the 70s, waving the Iranian flag, it was just great sports entertainment. Like I said, I've been Stanley Cup, championship games, stuff like that. There's something about wrestling. You get, 18,000 maniacs there and wrestling, the villain, the heel.
Listen, I vaguely remember the boot camp matches, but it's interesting, Vince McMahon has moved on from WWE, but it's interesting. It would take a Vince McMahon to take Sergeant Slaughter, the quintessential American hero in the 80s, and turn him into an outright traitor in the 90s. it just makes you love the way that people fall in love with the storytelling and pro wrestling. But all right, real quick here, NBA team.
I'm a Knicks fan. Knicks.
Okay. Laker fan, but I'd like to see the Knicks do well. It's great for the area. I think it's great for the energy of the community. The Knicks, listen, when the Knicks are good, let's be honest, I think it's as good of a vibe in New York City and New Jersey when the Knicks are competitive. And when the Knicks are in the hunt for a championship, I'll tell you, it's a different vibe, I think, for sure, especially in the Garden. There's no better building in this country to play basketball than the Mecca, I would say. I know you mentioned Seton Hall, obviously big Rutgers alumnus, Rutgers fan. Listen, I used to teach at Seton Hall. I really love the Arts and Science Center. A lot of great buildings, obviously a lot of great stuff going on at Seton Hall. Last question here, favorite American president?
Probably Lincoln.
Okay, interesting. Why?
So just, again, when you think about the, Gettysburg, the Civil War, I'm related to General Pierre Toussaint Gustave Beauregard, the Napoleon of the South. And the more history you read about it and the decisions that had to be made and the courage and guts that man had, to stick with his convictions. Again, you can throw up, the literal Mount Rushmore. You can put Reagan up there. You can put, Trump up there, I think, and what's going to happen and what he did the last time. What he's doing already, even before he's in office.
Yeah.
Is the $100 billion Japanese deal today speaks of it. But I think it is just, you can't go wrong, right? Just with him. So.
Absolutely. Folks, again, for everyone tuning in right now, keep it up in the comments section. We appreciate you tuning in here. Great numbers right now. I'm looking at the live right now. So again, folks, we appreciate you making Real Talk a part of your Monday night viewing. Allan, again, I want to thank you for your time. Listen, great work with the New Jersey Family Policy Center. Folks, again, for more information, if you're looking to get involved, volunteer your time or donate some disposable income, again, during the holiday season, again, your donation is tax deductible. And it's safe, secure online as well. Please visit www.njfpc.org. I want to make sure I give you as many plugs as possible on this show, man. I really believe in what you're doing. Again, it's a privilege to talk with you, Allan. I appreciate you dedicating your time. You can be doing a whole bunch of other things on Monday night, but we appreciate you dedicating it to Real Talk. I'll give you the last word here tonight.
All right. Hey, I want to thank you for your commitment to articulate the truth without fear, without repercussion. You're out there, you're doing it. So it's thank you for your service and to being a media outlet and a voice for the common person that just is incensed with the one-sided liberal media. So thank you for being a voice of reason, and look forward to shaking your hand in person sometime soon.
Oh, Allan, I appreciate the kind words. Listen, I'm not the most humble guy around, but I'm humbled hearing words like that from you. You're a patriot, you're a great American, and a great Christian. And you're doing God's work. I mean, literally and figuratively, as they say. So, folks, please visit www.njfbc.org. Allan, to you and your family, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus for the rest of us. For anyone that gets that little reference there,
full of strength, man. Grievances. I'm going to air my grievances.
The feats of strength. Well, listen, it's been a good year for us. I think let's hope for an even better 2025. And God bless you, man. Have a great holiday season. We'll talk to you in 2025 here on the show. Folks, he is Allan Wright, the Executive Director of the New Jersey Family Policy Center, our guest tonight live here on Real Talk. Allan, God bless you. Have a great one.
You too. Merry Christmas.
Take care. Folks, good stuff there with Allan Wright, the Executive Director of the New Jersey Family Policy Center. And folks, again, keep the comments coming. Great comment, great thread here. Great numbers here on the live traffic, as I can see here. Obviously, I'm looking at the panel here, obviously on the switchboard, and looking at the numbers here. Folks, I can't say enough. Again, without all of you, the success of this program would not be possible. So I can't thank you enough for making Real Talk a part of your regular Monday night viewing, whether it's in your PC, Mac, smartphone, or tablet. Again, folks, check out www.njfpc.org. Once again, www.njfpc.org for more information on the New Jersey Family Policy Center. They're a great nonprofit organization that you should get involved with. If you aren't already, what are you waiting for? Do it today and get involved with them, again, going into 2025. Folks, it's 7:10 here on the East Coast. We appreciate you tuning in here. Again, takes 2 seconds. Like, comment, and share tonight's episode of Real Talk with Fernando Uribe as we're wrapping up here in 2024. Only one more week, folks, and we'll be having our last show of 2024 next Monday night. Because again, New Jersey's premier journalist deserves a break with all the great traffic this year in 2024. So again, special programming note, make sure that you put on your calendars next Monday night, our last episode of 2024 as we take a break until Monday night, January the 6th. More on that in just a little bit. But folks, again, you know what time it is. It's time for final thoughts. And folks, you know, one of the things I've really enjoyed this year, especially in the last month or so, since the result of the presidential election, and it's been taking shots and jabs at a lot of the clowns behind me who have done their part in some way, shape, or form to corrupt the way we consume our media, to shove woke bullshit down our throats, to be the unbearable, insufferable social justice clowns, woke fools, feminists, cat ladies, okay? The alphabet mob, you name it, folks. There's been no shortage of people that have been insufferable this year. And again, yours truly, Fernando Uribe, your hero, by the way, has been more than happy to cook all of them in some way, shape, or form because they deserve it. Because what they've done for a better part of this year and for years prior is to try to just corrupt the way you consume information. Now, again, take your pick, folks. Whether it's Antoinette Miles, the interim executive director of the New Jersey Working Families Party, whether it's Tom Moran, who, by the way, again, will be unemployed soon. So bye-bye, Tom. Good riddance. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Let me be nice about it. Good effing riddance to Tom Moran, okay? That you'll be unemployed. Alan Steinberg, another useless left-wing journalist at Insider NJ. Of course, Bob Medina. We talk about useless humans. Folks, at the ripe age of 97 years old, you can tell that in the latter stages of life, Bob Medina refuses to stop being useless and will just continue being useless for the remainder of his days. Of course, advocating for some of the nonsensical policies that have destroyed New Jersey. Or Micah Rasmussen, the guy who apparently Stevie Wonder dresses when he makes television appearances. I mean, he's got a little bit better lately, like not wearing a tie. It seems like, I don't know, like Stevie Wonder's picking his ties lately or his clothes altogether. But folks, again, if you check out Micah Rasmussen on his Twitter feed or what he's been posting on the Rebevic Institute of Politics at Wright University, we all know Micah to be as insufferable as there is when it comes to academics, right? Or other insufferable activists like Sarah Claney with Make the Road New Jersey, or other insufferable Latinas and activists that, you know, would rather lecture you and be condescending because they think they know more than you do, making over $100,000 a year and literally not doing shit. Whether it's Maria Rodriguez-Gregg at Woke State over there in Montclair, or Laura Bustamante, right? Apparently working previously with, I believe, Hudson Pride and other woke organizations. And of course, another useless woman making $100,000 a year now with the Andy Kim campaign, right? Or of course, Chucky, Charles Style, Mr. Photogenic himself, part of the Bergen Record and NorthJersey.com, who did nothing but peddle woke nonsense and hysteria, and it really seemed to exemplify Trump derangement syndrome, which is asking a lot, folks, because we have a lot of them in New Jersey media, right? Or, of course, Amy Torres, another useless cat lady living off her husband's money. And, you know, of course, the hardest part of her day is deciding whether to have soy milk or almond milk with her third cappuccino that she buys at Starbucks, as she continues to coddle illegals here in New Jersey in her role as executive director of the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice. Speaking of useless, of course, folks, we've all gotten to know the useless journalism of Max Pizarro, the editor-in-chief at Insider NJ, who, let's be honest, folks, never leaves his house. And if he does, what's he really doing? Listen, I'd like to have that job, making over $100,000 a year to sit at home, scratch my ass, and publish propaganda, which is what his columns are, or his editorials. Or Uncle Dave, David Cruz from NJ Spotlight News, who, again, never, ever waste an opportunity with his bulk bullshit or to cry about race or gender or something. Because again, and I'll give Dave his flowers, he's been a guy who cut his teeth in the business. But at the age of 87, Dave, you've outlived your usefulness. Because all you live for is to peddle the virtue signaling nonsense. Everything has to be about race. Everything has to be about gender, right? And you led the way to some extent about Trump derangement syndrome, right? With the usual nonsense. And you're more than happy to welcome other TDS sycophants on the show. Okay? But folks, again, one of the things about David Cruz that makes him so insufferable, other than his work ethic, when, let's be honest, he works like 6 months out of the year. Folks, I know crossing guards, and shout out to all the great male and female crossing guards working in our school districts, because they're out there in the rain, the snow, the sleet, or whatever, at all temperatures, at all times. Those are people whose work ethic I can respect. David Cruz's, yeah, not so much. Or Hetty Rosenstein, another TDS sycophant who has spent her entire career, again, typical civil servant with a do-nothing job, somehow telling you at home that she knows more about politics than any of you, which is complete nonsense. If there's anything that exemplifies the apple-picking, paper-pushing, do-nothing state employee, folks, it's Hetty Rosenstein. You don't believe me? Check out her social media. Okay? Or other useless women in New Jersey, like Jay Lassiter or Patty Campos Medina. Far-left activists who love to coddle illegals and peddle woke nonsense. Meanwhile, smoking weed at every turn and spending their husband's money. Take your pick at who's better at spending their husband's money, Jay Lassiter or Patty Medina. Or Miss Photogenic Lauren Albrecht with Garden State Equality, who literally menstruates if you misgender somebody. True story. Watch the episode that she had on this show. She literally had this meltdown about misgendering people. That's the person, folks, who Garden State Equality likes to put out there in the forefront to lead a crusade for them. To Christopher Scarino, do better, bro. You can do better than Lauren Albrecht. Seriously. Okay? Or other useless journalists that exemplify TDS to a T, like Bob Henley. And last but not least, of course, Ron Zettlinger, who once again on February 1st, good effing riddance to Ron Zettlinger. Que te vaya pa'l carajo. Tú no sirves para nada. And I am so happy to see Ron Zettlinger take a hike on February the 1st from the Jersey Journal. But again, folks, when it comes to TDS, when it comes to this obsession about Donald Trump, one of the people that really comes to mind locally is, of course, the useless mayor of Hoboken, and that's Ravi Bala. And of course, Ravi Bala already tweeted before, after the election, but he felt the need to tweet again. As you can see, there's a screenshot, but I'll read it to you so you can see it for yourself. Okay? Of course, Ravi Bala decided today to put out another tweet, obviously. Look at this bullshit, creating an even safer city for our residents. More on that in a minute, but such bullshit by Ravi Bala. So, of course, Ravi Bala earlier today tweeted, during Trump's first administration, I held the line in Hoboken, protecting our residents against his extreme policies. What? Protecting the border? Making sure that we're not being victimized by illegal immigrants? Really? Those are extreme policies? I'm ready to do it again when he gets sworn in. No matter what happens in D.C., our people will be protected. So, of course, what Ravi decided to do was to publish his appearance on MSNBC, right, recently, with another useless academic and host at MSNBC. But again, I think it bears repeating about how bad he came across and how disingenuous Ravi Bala is. So let's go back to that episode. Since Ravi wants to rehash it, let me rehash it too.
Now, Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala is gearing up to take on Homan for a second time. He made headlines in 2018 for tweeting, quote, "Bring it on," a response to similar threats. Bala designating Hoboken a sanctuary city at the time, his first official act. Joining me now is Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for joining us this evening. I'm going to start with this. I appreciate your bravery. I appreciate your boldness. 24.
Well, first of all, if you want to appreciate bravery, it's brave to go out on television con esa cara de come mierda. Because, I mean, let's be honest, folks, when it comes to being really insufferable on a local level, I mean, Ravi Bala really leads the pack, right? So if you want to, I guess, applaud anyone's bravery, it's being able to sit there con esa cara come mierda que tiene Ravi Bala and to sit there and blatantly lie to you. But let's continue.
2018 is not 2024. You have an incoming administration that says they will literally use or attempt to use the military to forcefully deport people. As a mayor, what would you be able to do if the Trump administration says we're going to send?
Well, again, to the person at MSNBC, again, maybe he didn't go to law school, and you can tell at times that Ravi Bala clearly slept through law school. But again, federal law supersedes state law. And should the president and the new border czar, an actual border czar that's going to do something, unlike the current border czar, Kamala Harris, who didn't do shit for 4 years. But God forbid anyone on MSNBC was intellectually honest, right? And of course, let's check out Ravi's answer.
Armed troops into Hoboken and pull people out of sanctuary cities, pull people out of buildings based on whatever list that we have?
Well, thankfully, we have something called the U.S. Constitution and the Constitution of the state of New Jersey that protects our rights. In 2018, the AG Graywall passed an immigration directive that said that in the state of New Jersey, local law enforcement is supposed to be for local law enforcement and will not cooperate with federal authorities in the enforcement of immigration policies. We codified that here in Hoboken through an executive order to make sure.
Because again, with everything going on in Hoboken, like property taxes, a lack of parking, crime, right, that's been running rampant for years, this is what Ravi Bala decided to focus on his first few days in office. That, folks, that just reminds you how disconnected Ravi Bala is from everyday reality. Now, I don't dislike the mayor personally. He seems like a nice guy, right? But the reality about Ravi Bala is that he is blatantly lying to you. He doesn't care about you. So this little parade, this little performative nonsense that he's putting on MSNBC, folks, it's not believable. But let's hear the mayor.
That we expend our local tax dollars and our local resources to prioritize local issues. So if they come in.
Really? You want to prioritize local issues? Really, Ravi? Desde cuando? Because the last time I looked, I see rats everywhere in Hoboken. Not so much near the garbage, but I see rats everywhere. I see crime has been spiking. I see that, again, instead of hiring more police officers, you'd rather paint the crosswalks rainbow colors during Pride Month. Because coddling the alphabet mob is more important than public safety. Let's be honest, folks. Again, this is what Hoboken's become under the administration of Ravi Bala. It's about pronouns and Palestine. Okay? It's not about property taxes or public safety, because if that were the case, Ravi Bala would have addressed this earlier. So right there, we know that Ravi, it's bullshit. Like, you're literally lying to us. And of course, you know, the MSNBC host doesn't know any better. Ese otro cara come mierda, that, of course, that's why he works at MSNBC, because that's a prerequisite for being employed there. Let's continue.
And we're not afraid of the authoritarianism drumbeat of the Trump administration. We've seen that movie before. We're ready for it. We're really focused on making Hoboken a safe place from a public safety standpoint. We have a deficit in law officers. We have issues with public safety, with homelessness.
Sí, claro, no. You're dedicated to making Hoboken safer. Folks, ¿quién se cree esta basura? I mean, isn't it funny how just Robbie's gotten so good at just lying to you with a straight face? Like, it's amazing to me. And folks, he's not the only one that's guilty of that. Of course, his minions on the city council enable this, right? We got the prom queen, Emily Jabor. We got Joe Quintero, who is the living embodiment as to how easy it is to get a law degree. Because if this imbecile and this imbecile right here, obviously Ravi Bala, right? You get a law degree, folks, there's hope for anybody that maybe isn't the best student or maybe not the best test taker. Trust me, if Ravi Bala and Joe Quintero can get law degrees, folks, you can too. Or the charisma vacuum, Jim Doyle. Or the other charisma vacuum, Phil Cohen. Who, by the way, it's interesting about Phil Cohen, his nose arrives before he does to any council meeting, if you've ever noticed. But again, let me not go for the low-hanging fruit here. Let's stick to Ravi. Ravi, Hoboken, under your leadership, or lack thereof, has gone to shit. And I visit Hoboken regularly. I love going out for Sunday Fun Day. I love going out for first dates. A lot of great restaurants in Hoboken. Okay. Over the years, Hoboken's been a great place for booty calls. Okay. I love going to Hoboken. But who are you kidding with lying to us that somehow Hoboken is this better city because of you? And I feel bad because obviously Robbie wants to run for assembly. So subsequently, that's going to probably elevate Emily Jabor to run for mayor in 2025. What is Emily going to run on? The great record of Robbie Bala? The amount of money that the city's had to spend on lawsuits? Right? The amount of money that they have to spend for repainting crosswalks? Because those are the priorities in Hoboken. Right? Let's continue.
We're focused on local priorities. We want our local tax dollars to be expended on local priorities, and that's what we'll do here in Hoboken.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for pointing that out also, that you have sort of a legal backing for being able to resist this. I keep seeing terrible images from that movie about 15 years ago, The Siege, where they were literally just taking people and putting them in camps in the city.
And again, to this guy from MSNBC, listen, that's a great Denzel Washington movie, The Siege. Folks, watch it. I think it's on Amazon Prime. Okay, again, it was the president of the United States at the time enacting the War Powers Act to enact martial law because of what was going on in New York City because of a terrorist cell. Okay, this guy at MSNBC wants to make you believe that somehow that's what the current administration, well, the upcoming administration of Donald Trump is going to be doing. Again, folks, it would be funny if it wasn't downright embarrassing, because what MSNBC loves to do is lie to you. And they lie without even hesitation. They've gotten so good at it, it's almost second nature. But again, let's continue.
Next question for you is the threat. There's a stick and a carrot, right? You know, if you obey in advance, then maybe the Trump administration would just come and yank people out of sanctuary cities. But they're also threatening to take federal funding. What do you think is a city's response to that threat? I mean, would you just be tied up in court saying, hey, the federal funds that you say that you're going to take away aren't connected to sanctuary cities? How would you fight the battle of the federal government pulling money away?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of machismo and testosterone-driven policies by the federal government. This fear-mongering about yanking people, and cities like Hoboken and other cities across America harboring illegal immigrants, like we're scuttling them away in tents or closets. It's just not true. Mayors are on the ground. We fight, and we have a pulse of a city. Hoboken is a fair and welcoming city. And if those...
What pulse do you have? To virtue signal? To continue allowing property taxes to go up in Hoboken? To not address parking? To not address the amount of rats running around Hoboken? Not the rats working at City Hall in your administration. We're not talking about VJ or those other ones. No, we're talking about like actual physical rodents. Not the rats, not the humans that work at City Hall. But continue.
Those threats of federal funding are levied against us. They lost in the last administration. We challenged those policies. They lost because our Constitution, New Jersey, protects us. There's a bill pending in the New Jersey State Legislature, the Immigrant Trust Act, which I urge the legislature to pass quickly, and that is a codified policy which will give us protections if these threats of federal funding are actually attempted by the federal government.
And Mr. Mayor, one last question, and I so appreciate, again, I cannot express enough how much I appreciate your bravery in the face of this authoritarianism. Bravery
and this fear of authoritarian. Oye, que me comer mierda on MSNBC. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, you have to love their affinity for like hyperbole and hysteria, right? Folks, this is what progressives and the left have been relegated to. We're going to scare the shit out of you of what's coming in the new administration. Gee, I don't know. Enforce the border. Help revive the economy. Stop with all this DEI nonsense and hire real people, like, instead of DEI appointments. Like, whoa, like, that's, again, folks, you want to know why MSNBC and CNN are losing ratings? It's when you have hosts like this guy, okay, that somehow, okay, is peddling the same nonsense. And of course, why not have Robbie Balla to do that? But again, let me not sort of focus on this because again, I think we saw this episode before, we saw this segment before, but again, it bears repeating because if Robbie Balla wants to put that on Twitter and remind everybody how brave he is and how he's going to take on the Trump administration in 2025, then hey, maybe we need to do the same thing and repeat the same nonsense, right? Folks, don't buy it. Because when it comes to Robbie Balla will rather virtue signal than actually get stuff done. And this is what worries me about Robbie Balla running for the assembly in 2025. And I feel bad because in the new 32nd legislative district, which is comprised of the city of Hoboken, the Jersey City Heights, and downtown Jersey City, he looks like a candidate that could possibly win. But here's the caveat. And if I'm someone like the current incumbent assemblywoman, Jessica Ramirez, I'd be scared to death to run with this clown. Because at some point, you're going to have to stand on a stage with Robbie Balla, right? And acquiesce to the same nonsense that Robbie Balla is going to peddle, right? Number one, for example, reproductive rights. Okay? It seems like Democrats didn't learn their lesson in 2024. Here in New Jersey, because of the legislature, okay, access to an abortion, access for a biological woman, not pregnant people, mothers, biological women, to terminate a pregnancy, okay, is codified into state law up until the 9th month. Okay? Listen, folks, it's the NFL, NBA, NHL, what college football. Hey, it's Sunday fun day or fun day any day. So for a lot of ladies out there that maybe make some bad decisions over the weekend with alcohol and they wake up next to somebody they don't want to wake up next to, well, guess what? A plan B is available everywhere. So can we stop with the hysteria that somehow reproductive rights are under attack in New Jersey? Okay, can we stop that nonsense? Worry about property taxes. Don't worry about pronouns and Palestine and other woke bullshit. Worry about real world issues. That's why Republicans won in 2024. And that's why they got better exit poll data through Hispanics, through Black families, through single mothers, college educated women and men, because they were tired of the woke nonsense. And unfortunately, here in New Jersey, people like Robbie Balla, like this clown behind me, is going to be running on that when he runs for the state assembly. So if I'm Jessica Ramirez, the incumbent assemblywoman in the 32nd legislative district, I'm going to do us all a favor. Stay as far away as you can from Robbie Balla. That's not going to be a good look for you standing on a stage with this clown. But what do I know? I only talk about politics, and I'm only, not only good at it, but I'm pretty prophetic when I call things. So again, folks, do it at your own peril. But Robbie Balla is dangerous because he was pretty incompetent in Hoboken. He'll be incompetent in Trenton if he gets there. It's up to people to make sure he doesn't. I don't know about you, but folks, I can't take this guy seriously. And quite frankly, neither should you. And those are my final thoughts. Folks, before we call it a night here on the program, I want to once again thank Allan Wright, the Executive Director of the New Jersey Family Policy Center. Folks, again, special programming note, next Monday night will be our last show of 2024. We'll have an sort of an end of the year awards for some of the best people in New Jersey politics and media, and also some of the worst people in New Jersey politics and media. And some of you already know who they are, as I've been talking about them all throughout the year. So you definitely want to stay tuned for next week. And of course, folks, with next week being our last show of the year, we'll be taking a break, but we do return on Monday night, January the 6th at 6:05. It's a new year. So, of course, it'll be a new look on Real Talk with Fernando Uribe here on the Jersey First Television Network. Folks, I can see there, brand new logo, new look for the new year, but I'll be cooking like I always do every single week here on Real Talk via Jersey First TV. So, folks, again, special programming note. Once again, first episode of 2025 will be on Monday night, January the 6th. Will be a doubleheader. 6:05 we'll have Jersey City Councilman Yusuf Saleh on at 6:05, and at 7:05 we'll have former governor and Jersey City mayoral candidate Jim McGreevey on the first episode of 2025 right here on the Jersey First Television Network. Folks, let me know what you think of the new logo. I've been working on it for a bit, and you know what? Kind of work quietly, make moves in silence, and then you succeed with some noise. And that's what we're doing here on Real Talk with Fernando Uribe. Folks, again, I want to thank you all for certainly always supporting the program again, and we'll keep doing it in 2025. Again, take note, folks, the new logo for the new year coming up for the first episode on Monday night, January the 6th in 2025. Folks, before we call it a night here, I do want to give a special thanks. Obviously, last week, the Jersey First holiday party at Karloff's in Fairfield, New Jersey was an overwhelming success. We had well over 100 people at our holiday party. It was great to see some people I haven't seen during the year. Shout out to my amazing teammate at Jersey First. As you can see there, the lovely Elizabeth Nader, the host of the Nader Narrative, which will continue on Thursdays on Jersey First TV. Folks, I can't say enough about what a great teammate Elizabeth Nader is, and a great, really just a great opportunity to see her during last week's holiday party for Jersey First TV. And folks, and again, I cannot say enough what a privilege it is to work with her and to work with my boss, the president and CEO of Jersey First TV, Rosemary Becky. And folks, I got to tell you, when I started Real Talk on June 1st of 2020, again, in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of a lot of sort of emotional turmoil for me, let me tell you, I gambled on myself and it paid off. And I got to tell you, I gambled on myself even more when meeting with Rosemary Becky. And you know what? She saw something in this program, and I am forever grateful to her and all the great people and the staff at Jersey First TV. My amazing production assistant, Jacob, I love you, man. You make my job so much easier every week. So I'm grateful to you, but most importantly, I'm really grateful to Rosemary Becky. You saw something in me that maybe others didn't. And you chose to believe in me and in my brand of media. And I'm forever grateful to you. And I've been working hard for you and everybody at Jersey First to bring you great topics, great guests, and of course, great traffic. Because unlike those little Mickey Mouse journalists out there, the only traffic they know is what they see on Route 78 or Tunnelly Avenue or Route 440. But here on this show, folks, it's real traffic because it's real talk. Again, I couldn't be more grateful to my boss, Rosemary Becky, and of course to Ashley Smith as well, the executive director, my boss there as well, for believing in me and for continuing to believe in me in 2025 as I'll continue bringing traffic, great conversation, great analysis and commentary, because folks, nobody does it better than yours truly every Monday night. So to Rosemary Becky, all the great people at Jersey First TV, thank you so much, because you know what? Thank you for believing in me. And that's why I continue believing in all of you and working as hard as I do every single week for each and every one of you that tune in to Real Talk on the Jersey First Television Network. Folks, it is the holiday season. Of course, if you haven't gone to enough holiday parties, mark it on your calendar. Come out to Mad Hatter in downtown Hoboken this Wednesday night for the annual tradition I like to host, Holiday Happy Hour, hosted at Mad Hatter in downtown Hoboken. Folks, it's our annual toy drive to benefit local kids in our community. Again, I want to thank obviously Mike Corey, all the great staff and the management at Mad Hatter for hosting with us this Wednesday night. Folks, from 7 p.m. until closing time, bring one unwrapped toy and you'll get a shot at the bar, courtesy of Mad Hatter. There'll be plenty of drink specials, appetizer specials, and wonderful networking opportunities all throughout the evening. We'll go into closing, folks, so make it a point to come out this Wednesday night, starting at 7 p.m. to the world-famous Mad Hatter, the 2024 edition of Holiday Happy Hour. And again, it's my privilege to host with Vladimir Carrero, Lucy Costa, and Kristen Rossi this Wednesday night. Come out, folks. Be festive. Come out and make a difference in the lives of local children, because that's what we do every year with the Holiday Happy Hour. Folks, that's our show for this week. Once again, I want to thank Allan Wright, the executive director of the New Jersey Family Policy Center, for a wonderful conversation about today's social climate in New Jersey and nationally as well. If you missed any part of the broadcast, folks, it takes 2 seconds. Like, comment, and share. You can share the replay as soon as we go off the air. And of course, for those who haven't done so already, make sure you like us on Facebook. Of course, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And certainly, folks, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can get all our great content and updates once you subscribe free of charge on the Jersey First YouTube page. And of course, whether you get your podcast on Spotify or SoundCloud, download it and take it with you, whether you're going last minute Christmas shopping, walking your dog, visiting the in-laws, helping your kids move out of their college dorm as they just finished their final exams. Whatever it is you're doing, folks, take Jersey First TV with you anywhere at any time. Folks, I can't say enough what a privilege it is to be on the dream team of Garden State Media. That's right, folks. It is Jersey First TV, of course. Brand new episodes of The Nader Narrative premiere every Thursday, hosted by the outstanding Elizabeth Nader. And brand new episodes of Real Talk with Fernando Uribe premiere every Monday night. Check your local listings for showtimes. Folks, I can't say it enough. Thank you so much. Again, I'm deeply humbled by all your support. Great traffic. We'll talk about these numbers next week. As it'll be our final show for 2024. It's been a great year, folks, with traffic, with guests, with my brand of award-winning journalism. Folks, because of you, the success that I enjoy wouldn't be possible. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making Real Talk an ongoing success in 2024 as we continue into 2025. That's right, folks. If it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's Real Talk right here on the Jersey First Television Network. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist. Top Latino is voted on by the Latino Spirit Online magazine, of course, along with the United States Latino Affairs Initiative, and I'll continue to be the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State Media because my level of honesty, now more than ever, is truly necessary in this era of journalistic deception. That's right, folks. It's me, Fernando Uribe, the generational talent in Garden State Media, the people's choice, and the people's voice. And of course, let's not forget, the most handsome face that runs the place. That's right, folks. Again, thank you so much for tuning in here. Share tonight's episode on all your platforms, folks, as soon as we go off the air in just a few moments. We appreciate you, again, spending your Monday nights with us here on the Jersey First Television Network. I'll see you this Wednesday, folks, for Holiday Happy Hour. Take care of your elderly neighbors. Look after your children. Please party responsibly. And we'll see you next Monday night for the last edition of Real Talk for 2024. Thanks for stopping by, folks. And always remember, stay classy, everyone.